All right, so this is lesson 27 about time, okay? Just continuing to what we learned before. Working with time, it says draw. Oh, this is perfect. Get out your clock. It says Lily starts reading a book after breakfast at the time shown on the clock. Okay, so this is a little different right here. What time does this show on the clock? Well, let's start with the hour hand first. Okay, the hour hand is pointing to where? The hour hand. That's the shorter hand. Right here. This is the hour hand, which is the shorter hand. It's pointing to what? It's between the 8 and the 9, so that means it's still 8 o'clock, right? Okay. Now the minute hand, it's a little bit past the 6. Okay, so at least it's 30 minutes, right? Yes? But if you draw a straight line from here all the way down to here, it's two spaces past 9, right? Past the 6, right? So how many minutes is 6? We just reviewed that. 30 plus 2 more. 32. Okay. So what's the time shown on the clock?
8:32.
8:32. Okay. So far so good, right? 8:32. You should run that down. Explain how you can find the time on the clock on the previous page. Well, how do we find the time on this? Had to find the hour first, didn't we? Right? And it was between the 8 and the 9, so it's 8 o'clock. Okay. And we noticed that the minute hand was not straight down, pointing to the 6, so it wasn't 8:30. It was 2 minutes past the 6. Go to page 590. It says time is often given in terms of AM and PM, such as Ted went to bed at 25 p.m. Okay, which technically that's the time you should go to bed, no later than 9 o'clock. You write AM for times from midnight until before noon. Okay, and PM for times from noon until before midnight. Write your answer to the problem on the previous page using AM or PM. Explain your choice. Well, what was the previous page? Well, like this. What time did we have? What time was it on the previous problem? What?
8:32.
8:32. Okay. If it was 8:30 in the morning, it would be AM. Okay. If it was 8:32 in the evening at night, it would be what? PM. Okay. Actually, you could write both of them. That way you know the difference. Okay. It says elapsed time is the time that has passed between a start time and an end time. Look at the clock. So right here. Look at this clock right here. What time is it?
4:30. 4:30.
What is it?
4:30.
Okay, one of you has said 12:30. Is it pointing to the 2? To the 12? What? All right. So the start time, here's the start time. The hour hand is pointing between the 4 and the 5. So what's the hour? 4. And what's the minutes? 30, because it's pointing directly to the 6. Okay. What's the end time right here? 5, because the hour hand is pointing straight to the 5. Okay. And the minute hand is pointing to the 1, which is how many minutes? 5, because I'm counting by 5s. So is this correct? No. How do I write 5 minutes? 0.5. Okay. One way you can find the elapsed time in part B is by count by fives onto the start clock. Okay, so it went from the 6 and it went all the way down to the 1, right? Well, let's count by fives then. Right here, ready? 5. Then what's this?
10,
Keep going.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
35. So right here we have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so what is the elapsed time in part B? So how many minutes did it take from start to end? How many minutes did it take? How many minutes? 35. 35 minutes. Oops. All right, so we'll go on to the next page. All right, right here it says sometimes a clock will use thick and thin marks instead of numbers. Okay, explain how you can tell what time the clock shows. Well, look at this. You see this the thick lines that you see right here? You see the thick lines? What do you think those are? Those represent the hours, yes. And then the little the thin lines all the way around represents what? The minutes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this and actually enlarge it so you can see. There we go. Much better. So, okay. So this thin line right here, this thick line represents what? What number? What?
12.
I'm asking you a question, so you got to tell me. Then the next one over? 1. So let's do it this way. Like this. 12, right? And this one represents 1. This one here?
2,
2. This one here?
3,
And then this one here?
4,
So keep going. Label. Can you label it on yours? The bottom one at the bottom? 6, 7. This one here is 8, 9. What's after that? 10, and then 11. Right? So right now, the hour hand is pointing to what? The hour hand is pointing to what?
between the 7 and 6.
Which is
6.
6. So far we have that. Okay? So then, here's the minute hand. And it's 2 minutes after 9, right? And we know how many minutes is not is how many minutes is when the minute hand is pointing to 9? How many minutes is that?
45.
45 plus 2 more?
47.
47. Okay, so what time does the clock show?
6:47.
6:47. Excellent.